Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about the full moon that we're going to have on Thursday, August 31st, in a nakshatra called Shatabishak in the sign of Aquarius. But before I begin, I just want to say I will be talking about the sidereal or astronomical placements as used in Vedic astrology. If you're new to this channel, hi! I'm RoseAnna. I'm a Vedic astrologer. On this channel, I talk about full moon and new moon updates and planetary transits, so if you're interested in that, you can subscribe below. You can also find me over on Instagram at Starlight Inspiration, where I post new planetary updates every week. So this full moon will be in a nakshatra called Shatabishak, which means the 100 physicians, and it's a star of deep healing and deep mystical wisdom. Shatabishak is also called the veiling star, and for me I associate this a lot with things that either is hidden behind illusion or things that signifies specifically this kind of deep mystical knowledge that is that can be seen here, or the search for knowledge rather that can be seen here. This search for knowledge, I believe, is also shown in part by the symbol that is linked with this nakshatra, because the symbol is a circle without a midpoint. This leads the mind to think about like vastness and diving deep, like with because there's no end in sight. When I think about like a regular circle with a midpoint, that's like a bullseye, you know, there's a specific goal, a target, but when there's no midpoint, there's like no end in sight. It's just like the vastness. And the circle in itself is also even historically, a very spiritual symbol, because it signifies divine creation and divine manifestation and the perfection that can be seen as a manifestation of the divine. So it's a very spiritual symbol. And there's another symbol that's linked with this nakshatra as well, and that's a 1,000-petal flower, which of course leads the mind to think about the crown chakra. And I find this interesting considering the moon cycle that we're currently in, pertaining to the last new moon that we had in 𝗣𝗲𝗀 in Cancer, because 𝗣𝗲𝗀 deals a lot with the activation of kundalini energy. And what happens when you have a fully activated crown chakra? That's usually what signifies that there has been a previous activation of the kundalini energy, which gives rise to eventually, ultimately activate the crown, and leading the soul and the mind to receive like divine inspiration and divine wisdom. So there's a lot of focus on that here as well, this full moon. And it also leads the mind to the very, very deep sense of healing that can be found here as well, because Shatabisha has a lot to do with healing, whether that be emotional healing or healing of the physical body. But and this also deals a lot with the deity that is linked to this nakshatra is Varuna, or the god of water and the god of rain. And this signifies this link to both our emotions as well as to healing, because healing has a lot to do with the water element. So there's a lot of focus on healing and perhaps things that needs to be healed within this nakshatra. So there could be things could be made aware for us, or things could surface for us that needs healing at this time. If you look at the planetary ruler for Shatabishak, it's Rahu, the north node of the moon, and the head of the mythological beheaded demon that was once Rahu and 𝗀𝗲𝗀. So there's a lot of it links to our like obsessions of the mind, illusions, and materialistic desires, if you will. So, but if you look at the sign that we are in, which is Aquarius, that is a sign ruled by Saturn, and this adds to the somewhat conflicting energy that can be seen here, because Saturn is quite the opposite of Rahu. Saturn deals a lot with breaking those attachments, especially those attachments that we have to materialistic things, and the shattering of those illusions that keep us stuck in those like materialistic aspirations, let's say. So Saturn is like the destroyer of illusion, and Rahu is what sometimes provides us with a lot of those illusions and things where we just can't see clearly. So there's an interesting influence of planets here, or planets. Rahu is not a planet, but you know. So if we take the energy of Saturn, which is helping us to pierce the veil, shed our illusions and our materialistic desires, and get back to like service. And if we combine that with like Rahu's unstoppable zeal or desire, then perhaps we get the ultimate combination of these two energies, where that drive and that desire is directed toward our spiritual journey and for pursuing like higher knowledge or mystical knowledge, because it's a strong link to like the search for meaning and the search for mystical knowledge that can be seen here as well. Saturn really is the planet that helps us to like shed our illusions, like in search of the highest truth, or our soul's inner, like the higher truth that we each of us perceive that we are here to fulfill. So that's like the ultimate goal here. So there's perhaps a great opportunity to take some time, sit in solitude, and meditate on these things this full moon, because Saturn is a strong influence here, and because also the full moon will actually be in quite close conjunction to Saturn, that is currently transiting Aquarius and is in its retrograde cycle, so even more potent right now at this time as well. So there's a strong influence of Saturn here, and of course then we are even more so called to take some time perhaps and then just reflect on these things. And especially when it comes to our emotions, it can be, if we do it with the intention of observing our emotions from a neutral perspective, or without, like, because we have so much personal bias and so much personal illusions and beliefs and whatnot and all of those things, so that can sort of cloud the way we perceive things and the way we perceive our emotions even. So it could be a good time this full moon to meditate with the intention of piercing illusions and of asking, what is it that I need to see right now? What is the truth that I have been either neglecting to see, or that has been veiled to me at this time? So what is it that I need to see? That could be something to meditate on. And because the full moon will be in such close conjunction with Saturn, it could also mean that the, the otherwise extroverted, easygoing, like the happy energy of the full moon could be a little bit dampened due to Saturn's influence, because Saturn has the ability to like turn down the dial on the moon, if you will, and could also make us more introspective or more prone to seek isolation than we would normally be during a full moon, because that's usually when we're at our most sociable and at our most extroverted energy. So, but Saturn has a way of dampening this effect on the moon a little bit, so that could be felt here as well during this full moon. But as I said before, it could also mean that it's an especially beneficial time for taking some time just for yourself and to meditate and to either write or meditate on what your inner guidance is trying to show you. The full moon will also be aspected by retrograde Mercury, who's in the sign opposite in Leo and currently retrograde at this time. So the full moon will also highlight or be highlighted by this influence of Mercury. So, and of course if you look at all the planets in general, by the time of the full moon, we will have 6 planets in their retrograde cycle. So it's naturally from a cosmic perspective, it's a time right now where we're being more called to take a step back and take a pause and, well, slow down and reflect and all of that. So it could be a good time to use the full moon for that and to become more in alignment with if there are any attachments that we are currently holding that we really need to let go of, and to use the energy of the full moon just for that, because it's a time for release, and it's a time for actually also a time for manifestation. But so take some time just for yourself. Do something that feels good for you. Light a candle, perhaps take some time to journal, light some candles, and just make it a cozy, good time for yourself. As always, I will share my questions for the full moon, and the questions that I wrote for this full moon were: do I have any attachments that are weighing me down or hindering my progress? Is there something in me that needs healing right now? How am I taking care of my energy? Are my emotions mirroring my beliefs? Or do they indicate that something is out of alignment? Am I pursuing goals that feel meaningful and worthwhile? And are they meaningful to people other than myself? So that was it for this update. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave a like or comment or share the video with some friends or family, someone you think would appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a happy full moon. Take care. Bye.